Today's episode is about Jesse Owens and the 1936 Berlin Olympics, which are fucking wild. And we're going to have some interesting observations coming at you in a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one's going to be what you call a little bit of a tightrope walk.
Yeah.
Because of the times of the zeitgeist, but we're fucking diving headfirst into it.
Jesse Owens, he went to Ohio State, the Ohio State University. That's why he was called the Buckeye Bullet. And he was the best track and field athlete in the NCAA. At a 1935 Big Ten track meet in Michigan, Jesse he had the greatest set of track and field events in the history of track. In just 45 minutes of competition, Jesse tied one world record in the 100-yard sprint and broke 3 world records in the 220-yard sprint. In 45 minutes, the kid set 3 world records. I mean, yeah. I'm out of breath going up 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's, to bring up that he set 3 world records in 45 minutes and how unbelievably talented this man was and probably the best athlete our country had. He didn't even receive a scholarship to Ohio State. He had to keep working part-time jobs because of the racism at that university. They wouldn't give him a scholarship when he clear and away was the best athlete that the school had.
It's actually insane that he was the best runner in the country. And he had to pay to go to school. So the kid had to work a part-time job, go to class, and then run like all the other white kids who were on scholarship. I mean, Brutes Magoots. I'm voting that Brutes Magoots.
Because I love doing this podcast with you, because not only do I get to be by my best friend, Sergeant Snuggles, but we just learn so much and so many things, especially now in such a turbulent time in our history. It's like you look back in history and you see like there's a lot of things that were happening back then that are happening today. It goes again. The history is repeating itself.
Yeah. I mean, this country has had a problem with race, I think, since the beginning. I think it's not an exaggeration to say that we got a little situation with the racism in this country.
And you got to understand one thing about 1920s, 1930s Olympic athletes at that time. I mean, it wasn't easy for a black kid to even make the Olympic team. As a matter of fact, right before the 1936 Olympics, they weren't even the government or the United States government did not even want to allow black athletes to compete on Team USA. And that's a big problem.
That's a big problem if you want to win golds.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Is if you want to win, you should have the black guys on your team.
Yeah.
It's 1936 Berlin Olympics. Of course, there's a name, rounding out this is Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler had just become the leader. The Nazi party had just taken over absolute power. And it's interesting, Adolf Hitler, as you do the research on him, which I think people know but don't know, it's he himself, many people think, was at least 25% Jewish. And the Aryan race that he was touting, which was blonde hair, blue eyes, as the Ubermensch, the Ultraman, he was none of those things. I mean, he was a short, squeak of a kid with brown hair and a little baby mustache and what many people say is micropenia. So he was kind of advocating for something he didn't look like. So in many ways, he was history's version of Sean King, because Sean King's a white kid that's advocated for black people. Yeah. So, so I'm not saying, I know Sean King's trying to do good, but make no mistake, he is WHITEEE white.
Yeah, I mean, that is hilarious. Adolf Hitler, in some way, was the Sean King of his day in that.
Clip it.
Yeah, he was advocating for tall, blonde, Aryan-looking kids. And make no mistake, that kid, did anyone look more like a Bosnian accountant than Adolf Hitler?
In 1936, as Yannis was saying, Jesse Owens was given all the amenities that he should have been getting in the United States. So he said the German people treated him more fair than his American countrymen did, because he couldn't believe when he got to the Olympic barracks. He was like, where are our rooms? Because he was speaking for the black athletes. He was like, where are our rooms? And the German people were like, no, you all stay together. This is one big happy family. So there's a lot of bullshit that goes on. Of course, the major bullshit of why we're having segregation in the United States, supposed to be this free, prosperous, beacon of, freedom. But the Germans, who were secretly, obviously in a few years, going to invade Poland and really show their message, were acting as if they were these great people because they weren't segregating the whites from the blacks.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and that was all Joseph Goebbels. So we've spoken about him many times. If you don't know, go Google him. He's he was the Nazi propaganda minister, and these were all his designs of having the whole world look at them in the 1936 Olympics. He all of a sudden, all the hating Jew signs were taken down. All the Jewish athletes were allowed to come back and compete, under all these certain guises. But so the cameras are on them, and everybody thinks, oh, the Nazis aren't that bad. But of course they were. Jesse Owens and a man by the name of Lutz Long who was actually Jesse Owens' main rival, because Lutz Long was the only one who could even come close to competing with him, and they struck up this amazing friendship. Jesse Owens, he had faulted twice on the long jump, and if you fault one more time, you're disqualified. And Lutz Long came over in the middle, in front of Adolf Hitler, and said, hey, if you put a towel down right before the line, that'll give your mind a cue, and you'll be able to jump from there. And then he put the towel down, jumped, set the record, won the gold medal, and the first person, after he set that world record jump, the first person to hug him was Lutz Long, right in front of Hitler and the rest of the German officers' eyes. And he's just a special guy, and they remained friends until Lutz Long died.
Which is wild, which is a wild thing. So Jesse Owens wins 4 medals, becomes friends with Lutz Long, comes back home, doesn't get the welcome that he would like because he's a black kid. He's got to go back now and try to find a job. Kid couldn't find a job. I mean, you know, he pumped gas for a little while. I mean, It's crazy. And he's famously quoted as saying, you know, yeah, I got 4 gold medals, but you can't eat 4 gold medals.
There you go.
So he had to make money, and the kid became a smoker. Yeah. Ironic as that. It's ironic
at
that
32 years old.
32 years old, kid started smoking weed. He ended up dying in 66 from lung cancer as a sprinter. I mean, ciggies are good.
Ciggies are good. Yeah, they taste good. They make the pain go away. But yeah, Jesse Owens was not treated fairly. I mean, that kid, after doing that, especially at that time, especially after what was going to happen in World War II, I mean, it's like that kid shouldn't ever have to pay taxes again. He should just be given free room and board by the U.S. government, and him and his family, for the rest of their lives. But that's just not. And Jesse Owens also said this. He said, Hitler didn't snub me. It was our president, FDR, who snubbed me. The president didn't even send a telegram. I mean, you can't even send a fucking telegram to the kid. I mean, Lutz Long is writing letters to the enemy from behind Nazi lines, getting him through. You can't even write a telegram, you polio fuck.
Yeah. I mean, history is filled with all these dirty...
Look at FDR segregated black and white servants at the White House. I mean, cuz, when is his wheelchair going to be taken away?
Exactly. They should have took his wheelchair away as soon as he did that.
I mean, cuz, if I see... Make no mistake, if I see a statue of FDR in a wheelchair, I'm tipping it over.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, turn on alerts. More to come. Tell France.
Absolutely. And go to patreon.com/BayRidgeBoys to join the matriarchy where things get really wild.